Imagine yourself standing at the center of a brightly lighted stage, say in Madison Square Garden. You are the guest of honor. 18,000 people are waiting to hear your words. Several million others are tuned in on their television sets, counting the moments until you begin. You're introduced with great fanfare. The audience arises as one in a tremendous ovation. You step down stage, and, without warning, your pants fall off. How would you feel? Well, maybe this incident never occurred except in a burlesque house. But throughout the years, many an embarrassing slip has reddened the face of your favorite personality. It was Ham Fisher, creator of the popular Joe Palooka, who was judging a beauty contest on the Ted Steele Show. He was asked how he liked the girls, and he replied in all innocence,
"With all the feminine pulchritude around the studio, you have to grasp for breast. Gasp for breath."
Yes, he knew what he meant, but it was too late to do anything about it. The Fluff comes out unannounced. Incidentally, it was Arthur Godfrey who said, "The Fluff is to a radio performer what the gremlin is to an aviator. The Fluff is a whimsical little rascal who takes hold of a speaker's tongue at a time when it's most calculated to embarrass him." Of course, all radio and TV boners aren't pulled by novices. No, more times than you can imagine, the old hands at the game get all mixed up. Hugh James, veteran NBC announcer, was covering the Republican National Convention in 1948. He reported on the many colorful balls that were being held to stimulate convention activity. Then, in conclusion, he said in a clear voice, heard by a good portion of the American public,
"Ladies and gentlemen, we will now switch you to our studio where the orchestra's playing the Blue Balls of Scotland."
And one night on CBS, an announcer's voice said,
"The following prescribe and transcribed."
When he said it, what he really meant was the following transformer is prescribed. Well, you see, it can happen to anyone. Even to little children who, let's face it, should sometimes be seen and not heard. The following happened on a popular children's program. A small boy was called upon to recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
"I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice, and that's all."
His patriotism was unquestioned, but his grammar was a little bit subversive. You may have been listening in one night to the strains of a well-known band coming from an equally well-known ballroom in New York. There was a slight pause in the music, and the announcer blurted into the microphone,
"And now our pianist is going to tear off a piece called Margie."
There was a moment's shocked silence, followed by the sound of an announcer's option being dropped. Sometimes the trouble isn't in the throat. Occasionally, the wrong switch is pulled. The scene was a home game of the Yankees. The local radio station had just tuned in on the event.
"Yes, it's a beautiful day for a ball game. The stadium is jammed full. Both teams are in great shape, and I'm sure it's going to be a close contest. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem."
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer.
It was one of our late-night disc jockeys who said,
"Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this news bulletin to bring you a program."
And perhaps you were tuned in on a little station in the Midwest when a very popular young announcer said gravely,
Because of technical difficulties beyond our control, we are forced to discontinue this network broadcast. For the next 15 minutes, you will be entertained by Carl Mandel and his electric orgasm.
On a radio station in Kansas City, Missouri, one of the most popular shows is a Man in the Street broadcast. Perhaps incidents like the following are responsible for the program's ratings. The announcer stopped for an interview with a farmer who was standing next to a donkey. Well, good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
Elmer Brown.
And where you from?
St. Joe.
Say, isn't that over 50 miles from here?
Yep, that's right.
Well, then what are you doing here in Kansas City in the middle of all this traffic?
Just resting my ass.